Hey everyone, welcome back to HP Watching. This is Severance 2, Episode 8. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about, but I might separate it out and move it to the end of the video, because I know a lot of people just click off when you have a long intro. I don't know. I do it sometimes myself if I'm watching a reaction, so I get it. You can always skip to when you can see Severance behind me if you want to just skip to the reaction, though. Don't have to close the whole thing. I'll see how long it is and maybe just throw some stuff at the end. Thought it was interesting. I thought Dr. Maurer kind of looked like Kierish, and there's also the line of Gemma saying, Mark saying when she's looking at the card, how do you know it's the same guy? And she says, because the hair is the same. And like that could apply to why I think this person looks like Kier, but also the any watchers and the doubles we've been seeing, like they aren't exactly the same, but the hair is the same. I don't know. Maybe it's just a joke about hair because Ben Stiller is apparently obsessed with hair. Another just interesting thing. I don't really have anything to go off of on it, but I was watching the Ringer podcast coverage with Rob Mahoney and Johanna Robinson, and one of the emailers pointed out that the song that played when Mark was repairing the picture of Gemma and that Gemma was playing this week, the Billie Holiday song, it also played over like the speakers in the restaurant when Mark was on a date with Alexa, and Lumen kind of controls the whole town. So maybe Alexa was kind of working for Lumen in a way with whatever they're doing with Gemma. Because it is interesting she went on a second date with Mark after the first one was so terrible. I mean, maybe it's just slim pickings there, but yeah. Very interesting. I was listening to the official podcast too, and they did confirm that the flashback scenes were shot on film. Like, I immediately noticed they were different, but I wasn't sure if it was like a made to look like film type thing that they do now, but it did look like how film typically looks, and it was funny. They were talking about how Ben Stiller originally wanted to shoot the whole series on film, and Jessica Lee Gagne, who directed the last episode and is the cinematographer, was like, no, we should probably shoot on digital. It would work for the series, and also, film's a big hassle to shoot on, especially for a TV series. But then when she directed her first episode, she was like, I think we need to shoot on film. But it made sense visually. Because it does, as she said, it has a sense of nostalgia. So for a flashback, it makes sense. I love things that are shot on film. The quality it gives, it's just looks great. The colors were beautiful. Yeah, so I won't complain if we get more of that, but Severance looks great regardless, just in different ways. One thing I was wondering was, are they maybe studying Gemma and testing things on her because her innie is so calm and easy to manipulate, I guess? I don't know. It feels like I'm dissing her, but her innie never really fights back. Like, Miss Casey gets sent down by Milchek and is like, she protests a little, but she's not like our other innies where they will lash out and everything. Like, she just seems like she will not agree with it but go along with it. So I wonder if maybe that's why she's one of their test subjects. And then another thing from the official podcast where Deacon Lockman, and I was calling her Deacon Lockman. It's funny, she has a CH in each of her names, and it's two different pronunciations, but it's a very interesting interview. I did not know she was Australian. But yeah, she was talking about filming with Jessica Lee Gagne and talking about how she kind of just goes with the flow. And it sounds like she has a really cool style of filmmaking where it isn't like, no, we have to do it exactly like I pictured. she's like can freestyle, but obviously in the final project, like the final product, it all flows together incredibly well, and like I'm sure there are some things where she's like, no, it has to be done like this because we have it all set up this way, like that cable thing, which was practical, I guess, when we went down to see the doubles, which is insane. Um, I love it. Love her practical effect. Um, but yeah, she just sounds. I'm excited. It sounds like she'll probably direct more Severance in the future, so I'm excited to see her work. The other thing I found interesting, kind of, I mean, editing these, you kind of get to deep dive into them, and rewatch all the same shit over and over again. But I thought it was interesting. The one question she gets asked, "What's the difference between, or which would you prefer, drowning or suffocating?" Um, and it seems like kind of the same thing. Uh, like you're just dying due to lack of oxygen, but also drowning and suffocating are used very specifically in like um, relationship issues when like you're having an issue with someone, but in like two different ways. Where I feel like I'm drowning is when someone has like withdrawn or doesn't feel like they're getting support, like Gemma in uh, in that episode. It felt like maybe Mark was kind of withdrawing and not giving her the support she needed, so maybe she felt like she was drowning. But then also the opposite when it's like too much and like an overload of not support or whatever, but like when you're not doing mentally well and someone's like trying to do too much for you, it could feel like suffocating. So I do wonder if it was like a question more about like emotional drowning and emotional suffocation. Uh, yeah, just a thought I had. I think those are all the ideas I had. I mean, there's more I had throughout the week that have come and gone in my mind. Um, I'm thinking about this show all the time. Not always writing down everything I think about it, unfortunately. Uh, but I usually watch on my big screen, but I'm watching on my computer this time because my TV is being weird and I don't feel like trying to figure it out. I just want to watch Severance. That's why I got the cheap gaming headset on, and maybe the lights are bad, but I know my lights are already kind of bad. I'm gonna get a face light at some point, but I don't know. Right now, my priority is just making videos. I'm gonna do a couple other shows at some point. I don't know. I work, so it's tough to fit this in. I'm gonna do some other shows. I think maybe I'll do Andor. I think I'd have to do season one twice a week to finish it by the time season two comes out because I haven't seen it yet. Um, but I was thinking of maybe doing like Twin Peaks. I'm not like a huge David Lynch fan, but I've only seen Mulholland Drive. It just wasn't for me, but I've heard Twin Peaks is great. And I do feel like his vibes maybe need to play out a little longer in TV. And obviously, it's one of the most influential shows of all time. And I haven't seen it, so I should watch it. So maybe that's what I'll do next. Alright, so this is season 2, episode 8 of Severance. Let's get into it.
It has been decided that you be
We're definitely
suspended from your
getting
position
Cobell.
effective immediately.
Are we outside, or is this going to be Cobell? Okay, is this a lake or an ocean? Where are we? That's what I want to know. Oh shit, we're in Salt's Neck. What's in Salt's Neck? Because that's where she was heading before when she turned around. There's the Kier hymn. Is this like the Kier, or like the OG Kier town? A time is left in the past. That's interesting. It's all ice on this side, not on the other side. Maybe it's where ocean meets lake? I don't know. River meets lake? Are we gonna get a all Cobell episode? Could explain why it's so short. Or just get all the stuff she's been up to. See, huffing. Yeah. Huffing glue. It's our first time outside Kier. I apologize if this is a real town. Looks like a fucking hellscape. Who is this dude? I recognize the actor, I think.
I need a favor.
Is Kier its own country? Or PE its own country?
Meet me at the factory.
I think it's gonna be an all Cobell episode.
I know you love me.
Yeah, I think this might be the OG Lumen town.
I need you to drive me to Sissy's.
Oh. No thanks.
If they're watching the house, I assume.
Then you know she's a fucking pariah here.
You can
Like the 9 core principles? It's like a church or something?
I need to get something.
I love the word chums.
Let's lift each other up.
God.
Kier and Imogen met at the ether mill. You know that?
Yeah, this is the fucking Lumen origin town.
I can smell it on your breath. Pathetic. Eat the punchy double.
Oh, that's what
Are
the
your
dude was huffing.
resentments-
Ether. I wonder if that's what he was giving the bottle of to that guy. Because, yeah, that'll fuck you up. That's probably why the old lady had the breathing tank, too. I bet the chemicals just in the air in the town have destroyed everyone. This does feel like out by a lake.
What have you done with my things? Sold to the poor. They weren't yours to sell.
Sold
I
to
sit in
the
this
poor?
house, you do not.
Not even given to the poor?
Has anyone?
What an asshole.
If only she had been a believer.
So whoever this mother
Perhaps
was,
she would have
maybe
found
not a
solace
true
in the
believer.
nine. Egan saw here in
Yeah, it's just ether huffing cult. There was a goat in there. Did not miss that. God, that looks awful. They have like gas lamps and no electricity out here. That's crazy. Is that Harmony? I mean, if her mom is not locked in on Kier and she finds that out, maybe she becomes like on our side. I don't know. I don't see how Kobo becomes an ally outside of just common goal. But she seems still completely locked in on Kier. Ew, is she putting in her mom's breathing tube? Ugh. Gross. Yeah, they all have breathing issues. Probably from the ether factory. Ooh. It's like a whale noise. That's a cool audio, like, transition. It's just so cinematics. I mean, wow. The visual storytelling is just...
Really knew her.
Why is Cobell such a fucking asshole?
She hated Lumen more than I did, so I needed to know.
Okay. This is very interesting. Yeah, that's got to be the key for Harmony turning on Lumen. Whoever is her mom, I think. Oh, but I thought she was in an orphanage, but maybe people just thought because she went to like Egan School for Girls that meant an orphanage.
You want to get high?
Yeah, Lumen has completely fucked this town. Is this a trap?
Oh, I haven't done that since I was 8.
Huffing ether at 8? That's crazy. It's probably how they indoctrinate them into the cult, just get them ripped on ether.
It's shameful that you sell it.
She is a Lumen soldier. It's like a little dugout, hobbit hole. Just like an ether storage. Annual reminiscences. Such a cult. So Miss Wong is like to show us what Harmony was, basically, right? The Wintertide Fellowship probably goes to like Egan School for Girls. I wonder if Jamie Egan like did something to her. Cause they mentioned him in the previously on. That's his statue. She said, "You fear me." Maybe she could bring them down.
Mine! My designs!
Did she design Severance?
Circuit blueprint, base code, overtime contingency, Glasgow
What?
block, all of it!
She's gonna throw it in the fire. She's an asshole.
That if I sought credit, I would be banished.
She's gonna put it in the fire.
I hope you die as painfully as she did.
I'm with you on that one.
It was her hand that removed the tube, not mine.
Sissy sucks, so
I don't
should
believe
probably
you!
remove the tube to fucking be done with her.
I thought you were different.
So Cobell knows how all this shit works, and she's the one saying reintegration is possible, and they're all like, reintegration is not possible, trust us. We know. We made it. When she fucking made it.
I'll see you around. Come tame these tempers of assholes.
Will she turn on Lumen? It feels like she's being pulled by...
So listen, Mark has been reintegrating?
A copy. Is Mark with you?
Oh, yes.
Put him on.
Yeah. Hello?
Tell me everything.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Also, the music drops is like, yeah, of course Ben Stiller directed this one. He has a very, you can tell it's him. Let me turn this down a little bit. I've been asking for more Cobell stuff for a little while now, and it was all Cobell stuff. Great background. Cobell invented Severance. I don't think I've ever seen... Maybe I've seen that theorized. It sounds somewhat familiar, but I don't know. That feels like something that makes sense and is also absolutely fucking insane. So that's why she's like, you fear... She invented it, and she can be like, I invented all of this. And yeah, they have all the, like, corporate power, which, I don't know, I guess means a lot. Because they can afford all the lawyers and stuff. But, yeah, that's insane. I don't even know what to say, really. There's a lot about Ether, too. Maybe it's just because it's the origins, and they're just trying to show how Lumen destroyed this town and doesn't care. Has just left them the original, like, town that gave rise to the Egan family's power. They basically were just like, alright, see you later. Everyone in town, rightfully, hates them except for Aunt Bowlcut. I think it was her aunt. I don't know if Cobell was like, you shouldn't sell ether because it's... She saw, like, the dude huffing it and was like, this town's dying and that's one of the reasons. Or if it's like, no, this is like sacrilege because praise Kier. Because she seems like a true Kier believer. There's a lot of characters, like even the innies and stuff, it's like, they can be like, yeah, we're anti-Lumen, but obviously we love Kier. Like, Kier's our guy. Kier has nothing to do with this. And it's just very weird. The past 2 episodes have been, like, kind of great, reset episodes, because they, like... I don't know if I've said it yet, but last episode might be the best episode of Severance in general, and one of the best episodes of TV in the past 5 years. Maybe of all time? I don't know. Maybe that's a stretch. But it was a very well-made episode. But it also, like, reset the table with, like, okay, here's a lot of what's going on, and, like, all these other theories, no, not so much. And this one was kind of like that, too, where it's like, yeah, you might have a lot of theories about what Cobell's up to and how we're going to move the story forward. And I was saying last week, it makes sense to have Cobell return this way as a way to like bring the stories back together, obviously. But yeah, I didn't think it would be as the inventor of Severance. Like, if anyone's gonna know about like how to fix Mark, then it'll be her. There's also the test she was running on the side with Innie Mark and Miss Casey. I wonder if that they were pissed because it was like, hey, it's not yours anymore. Like, we've taken over this, and you're just like, you're not Negan. You're just some lady. I don't know. The fact that they like don't treat her as the person who has made this incredible breakthrough, and she still like is loyal to them, I guess. I don't know. It seemed like at the end there she was like, why are you loyal to Lumen? But she's loyal to, I don't know. Religious fanaticism doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they work together. 'Cause I don't think she'll turn them into Lumen. I do think she'll be like, this is how we serve Kier together. Like that's part of her goal. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe she dislikes the company, and I don't think Audi Mark cares about Kier. Any Mark does, because he was like earlier this season. He was like, we just want to serve Kier. Like he's like, I just want my team back so we can serve Kier together. And I don't think he was just saying that. It seemed like he genuinely believed it. But then he also sarcastically said praise Kier to Milchek, so I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I can't really formulate many theories or ideas after that, so I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm just babbling on now, but another great episode of Severance. One of the big things I wanted to talk about was after last week's episode, I read Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich. It's only like 50 pages, so it's not like a huge commitment or anything. It was a fun little read. And it definitely had a lot of thematic elements that could align with elements we've seen in Severance. So yeah, the themes I noticed when I was reading it were just the like going through the motions of life and succumbing to like societal pressure. There's gonna be spoilers for the novella. Skip ahead a couple minutes if you don't want those. So Ivan injures himself and is dying, and he's like taking stock of his life. And throughout the book, there's a lot of moments where it'll call out like, and so Ivan married his wife because that's what people do. They get settled down and they get married. And he didn't like her that much, but he also didn't dislike her, so. And then throughout the story, he has issues with his wife because they only got married because that's what you're supposed to do. And I was wondering if maybe there's some ties there with like Mark and Gemma being unhappy that they can't have kids because having kids is what you're supposed to do. But you know, not everything's gonna connect, obviously, and it's not like a one-for-one layout of the story, but there were a lot of thematic connections, so I'm just gonna keep going through those. So Ivan also used work as an escape. In the like when he has issues with his wife, he goes to work to forget all about it and kind of has like a severed work and home life. So that's obviously interesting. And then there's this like constant refrain throughout the book by like in Ivan's thought process that life should be life should go by easily, pleasantly, and like negative thoughts and feelings should be avoided, which seems a lot like what Lumen is trying to do with what we learned last week with what like all the Gemma experiments. It seems like they're trying to do something to remove painful experiences, whether it's to remove the memory or to offload them onto an innie. I'm still not sure, but that seems like what they're doing. And then there's like kind of a desire to overcome death by the character. Eventually, spoilers again, at the end he accepts it. And no longer fears it and actually finds like happiness in his final moments. But throughout, it's kind of like a battle with death. And then like other people seeing death as a burden was another thing. Like his family definitely feel, and his friends feel like it's a burden seeing him slowly dying. And we can see in this story, Gemma's death is a burden for a lot of the characters. So there was a quote from the book that I wrote down, and I guess I'll put it on the screen if I do include this. What do you want was the first clear idea expressible in words that he heard. What do you want? What do you want? He repeated to himself. What? Not to suffer, to live, he replied. And again he gave himself entirely to such intense attention that even the pain did not distract him. To live how? Asked the voice of his soul. Yes, to live as I lived before, nicely, pleasantly. So it's kind of when he's on his deathbed and he's fighting with death, and he's like, no, but I want to go back to living with not a care in the world and pleasantly, and not have to deal with these negative emotions. And I just thought that stood out as maybe this is kind of a distillation of what Lumen's trying to do.